Jury selection begins today in the federal sex trafficking trial of Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. She's accused of recruiting underage women for Epstein to allegedly sexually abuse from 1994 to 2004. Maxwell says she's innocent of the charges. NBC News correspondent for investigations Tom Winter joins us now from outside the courthouse in New York City. Tom, good morning. So before we get into the jury selection, I'll ask you about that in just a moment. Let's first remind our viewers what Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of. What was her involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and what is she charged with?
Right. So she faces a host of charges here, including a sex trafficking conspiracy charge for, as you said, Savannah, activity from 1994 to 2004. Now, that's important because that predates the investigation in Florida, and it all has to have a nexus here to New York City. That's why federal prosecutors, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, were able to bring these charges. The grand jury handing up an indictment saying that she tried to entice minors to travel for the purposes of sex. She was involved in that sex trafficking conspiracy, allegedly, as I just mentioned, and then as well that she was involved in the abuse. They say that she was personally involved in the abuse. So there's a whole host of charges centered around that, and that's what she's facing here as this trial begins in earnest.
Now, jury selection, as we mentioned, is underway. So what do we know so far about the process?
Right. So over the past couple of weeks, jurors have been coming here to the courthouse, filling out questionnaires, essentially evaluating whether or not they can even be here for this trial or if they have any particular conflicts with some of the names and some of the individuals that might be coming up here at this trial. So for folks, this trial expected to last for 6 weeks through the holidays. For people that have to travel for the holidays, for people that have business commitments, they can't be here. But as we stand here today, 213 people have qualified. They're going to be called before the judge, one person at a time, answer a question from the judge, I should say, this morning as to whether or not they can be impartial and whether or not they move on to the final pool of 50 to be picked.
And now, Tom, when can we expect that selection process to wrap up? And then when does that mean that oral arguments will begin? Walk us through the timeline for this trial.
It really depends on how quickly they can get through this questioning period, how quickly they can get to a pool of approximately 50 or so, that then both sides can use their strikes to challenge them and get down to that final jury pool. This may go up until opening statements on November 29th. They may pick from that pool on that morning, but we do anticipate opening statements on the 29th. The jury will be seated then. And as I mentioned, the trial going 6 weeks through the holidays.
All right. Tom Winter, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.